Hello friend, how are you? Welcome to Tripan Study Center. Today we are going to do the chapter of social science and highlighting each and every point of it. Let's see what is our topic today. Agriculture in India. Our next chapter, there is important. Agriculture in India. The first word point arrive here. Types of farming in India. There is important. Types of farming in India. You know that India has a diversified is a topography. You have already learned about it in the lesson of physiographics of India. The country has a Himalayan mountain ranges extending from Jammu and Kashmir in the west to be Arunachal Pradesh in the northeast. They have a hill ranges in the form of Eastern Ghat and Western Ghat. Do you know India has one of the largest plain area of the world in the form of Indo-Ganga plain. Central part of India is dominated by the plateau area. Apart from a variation in a landform, the country has a varieties of climatic condition and the soil types. This is important. The country has a varieties of climatic condition and soil types. And this physical variation along with the other factor like ability of irrigations and use of machineries, modern agriculture input like a high yard varieties means HYV. That is the most important on this time. Of the seed and insecticide and pesticides has a play there is respectively is a role in the evolution of the different farming practice in India. So of the major types of farming discussion and below here, one point is important here. There is a modern agriculture. There is a modern agriculture mean green revolution. The green revolution is varied about here. The high yielding variety of use of seeds, insecticide, pesticide, and the new technology. There is a green revolution, and the revolution and different farming practice in India. The first point here, a substance and commercially farming. Substance and commercially farming. The majority of farmers in India practice is a substance farming, and this means of farming from oven consumption. In other words, the entire production is largely consumed by the farmers and their family, and they do not have any surplus to be sold in the market. In this type of farming, land holdings are small and fragmented. Cultivation techniques are primitives and simply. In other words, there is a total absence of modern equipment like a tractor and a farm's input like a chemical fertilizer, insecticide and pesticides also. In this farming, farmers mostly cultivate cereals is along with the oil, seeds, pulses, vegetables and sugarcane. This farming is a commercially farming. It is most be positive of substance of farming. There is the commercially is a commercially farming. In this case, the most of produce is sold in the market for earn money. The farmer mainly is growing for the crops here on a field of commercially farming because this is give us a market for the earn of money. The important. In this system, farmer use input like irrigation, chemical fertilizer, insecticide, pesticides, and high yard variety of seed, etc. Some of the major commercial crop growings in a different part of India are cotton, jute, sugarcane, groundnut, etc. That's important. It's a major commercial crop like cotton, jute, sugarcane, groundnut. Rice farming in Haryana is mainly for a commercially purpose as the people of this area are predominantly is a wheat eaters. However, in the east and the northeastern state of India, rice cultivation would be a largely of substance types. This is important also. The next year, intensive and extensive farming. intensive and extensive farming. The basic difference between the two types of farming in the amount of production per unit of land. In a comparisons with the temperate area of USA, Canada and farmer of USSR, India does not be practice extensive cultivation. When we use a large patch of land for cultivation, then we are called extensive farming. Here total production may be high due to large area, but per unit and production is low. It is important total productions may be high due to the large area, but per unit of production is low. Intensive farming requiring high production per unit of land. The best example of intensive cultivation is Japan, where the abilities of land for the cultivation is very limited. And similar kind of situations can be observed in the state of Kerala in India. There is important intensive and extensive farming. And the next year, plantation farming. Let's see plantation farming. Here on screen, there are plantation farming. It is on a state where is a single cash crop is growing for a sale, and this type of agriculture involved growing and processing of a single cash crop. The purely is meant for a sale. There are tea, coffee, rubber, banana, and spicy are all example of plantation of crops. Most of these crops were introduced in the India by the British in the 19th century. There is important plantation farming. There are British in the 19th century, mostly of growing on the field. The next farming here, mixed farming. Mixed farming is important. It is a situation in which the both arising crop and earrings or animals are carried on stimulantly. Here farmers engaged in a mixed farming are the economical better off than other. All classifications are based on nature and purpose of farming. It may be overlap. For example, banana is a plantation types of farming. It can also be classified as a commercial farming. That is important. Banana is a plantation farming, but it is also be classified as a commercial farming. That is important. Let's understand here a different type of revolution. That is the most important here. Here on the screen there are different type of revolution. So many exams is asking this type of question. The first of here a green revolution. The green revolution it stands for a major technological as a breakthrough is India is based on improved seed of high yard variety, equate and ensure supply of water for irrigation and increasing and appreciate application of the chemical fertilizer for increasing agriculture production. It's known as the green revolution. But next year, white revolution. White revolution mainly here, it stands for the remarkable increasing in a milk production and establishment of a national milk grade. The removing regional and seasonal imbalance. Among the technological input are crossbreeding of endogenous cow with a high milk yielding is a European breeds and pasteurization of milk for keeping it for a long duration. That's an important method here. Pasteurization, there's a pasteurization of milk of keeping long durations. The collection of quality milk for member in a rural area and refrigerated transport system which help us sending milk for of our metropolitans are sent both by road and rail. That is the most important here, a white revolution. And the next year, blue revolution. Blue revolution refer here to big rise of catching of freshwater marine fish. This is important blue revolution here. That it is referred to be a big rise of catch of fresh water and marine fish. And also here, indigo production. The blue revolution there, indigo revolution also. The yellow revolution it is referred to remarkable stay and ensure supply of priorities of product. And the next year, Pink Revolution. The Pink Revolution is referred to be a considerable rise in the production of quality of apples, particularly in the state of Himachal Pradesh and Jammu Kashmir. There is a Pink Revolution. The refer here apple production, yani means yellow revolution here or production, and blue revolution refers here indigo and a fish revolution, and white revolution refer here a milk production, and green revolution refers here agriculture revolution. There is a most important revolution on your screen. The next topic is the most important here, silent feature of Indian agriculture. Silent feature of Indian agriculture here, subsistence of agriculture. First of all point arrive here, subsistence agriculture. As I mentioned earlier, most part of India have subsistence agriculture. This type of agriculture has been practiced in the Indian for several hundred of years and still prevails in the large part of India in a spirit of the large scale change in agriculture practice after independence. There is important substance agriculture here. And the next year, pressure of population on agriculture. Despite of the increasing of urbanization and industrialization, about 70% of population is still directly or indirectly depend on agriculture. That is the most important pressure of population on agriculture. There are 70% people, the urbanization and industrialization directly indirectly depend on the agriculture. That is important. And the next year, mechanism of farming. Mechanism of farming here, a green revolution took place in India in the late 60s and earlier 70s. There take place in India is the later 60s and 70s. After more than 40 years of green revolution and revolution in agriculture machineries and equipment, complete mechanism is the still a distant dream. There is the most important mechanism of farming. And the next year depends upon a monsoon. There is a most important factor here, depend upon their monsoon. Since the independence, there has been a rapidly expansion of irrigation of infrastructure. Since the independence, there has been a rapidly expansion of irrigation infrastructure. If there is a large scale expansion, only about one third of total cropped area is irrigated today. There is a third of total crop area irrigated today. As a consequence, two-thirds of crops area is still depend upon monsoon. Third of crops area is still depend upon the monsoon. As you know, monsoon in India is a uncontained and unreliable. This has become even more unreliable due to change in a climate. The next one, variety of crops. The varieties of crops, there is the most important. Can you guess why the India has a variety of crops? There is a most important question. Can you guess that India has a variety of crops? Why India has a variety of crops? As I mentioned in the beginning of lesson, India has a diversity of topography and climate on soil. Since India has a both tropical and temperate climate, India has both tropical and temperate climate. Crops of both the climate and found in India. The crops of both climate and found in India. There are very few countries in the world that have a variety of comparable to be that of India. You will realize that when we would be discuss the different types of crop in detail. Look at the table number 1 to be get an idea. That's important table. The next section here. And the next here, predominance of food crop. Predominance of fruit crop. See, in the India, agriculture has to be feed a large population. Production of food crops in the first priority of farmer almost everywhere in the country. The predominance of food crops is important. So in the India, agriculture has to feed a large population. Production and food crop in the first priority of farmers almost everywhere in the country. However, in a recent year, there has been a decline in the share of land used for food crops due to the various other commercially most advantaged use of this land. And the next point here, seasonal pattern. Seasonal patterns is the most important. India has a three distinct agricultural cropping season. You might have heard it about Kharif, Rabi, and Jayad. Seasonal pattern Kharif, Rabi, and Jayad. In India, there is a specific crops grow in the three season. There is a Kharif, Rabi, and Jayad. There is a specific crops growing in this season. For example, rice is a Kharif crop, whereas a beet is a Rabi crops. There is the most important here. The major crops of India. Our next topic. Major crops of India. India is grow almost each and every crops. Can you think why? There is the most important here. The India is grow almost each and every crops. If you consider the variety of crop grow from the Kashmir to Kanyakumari and western coastal of Gujarat to extremely northern eastern state of Arunachal Pradesh, there would be hundreds of crops. We group all these crops into the four broad types. Let us discuss their main crops under each types of detail. In this table, there is the most important here are types of crop meanings and major crops here. The food grain crops here, a crop that is used to human consumptions only they have. A major crops here rice, wheat, maize, maize, pulses and oil seed. There is a food grains here crops, but commercially crop is a crop which are the growing for a sale, either a raw material from a semi-processed form. But major crops here cotton, jute, sugarcane, tobacco and oil seed. That's important. And the next year, third year, plantation crop. Plantation crop is which are the growings on plantations covering large estate. There is example tea, coffee, coconut and rubber. But the next year, fourth is a horticulture. Horticulture is a section of the agriculture which are fruits and vegetables are growing. There is a fruit and vegetable in this type. And come here, the main is a food grains on the detail. The next year, food grain. On the detail here, the first of all, rice. The food grains is the first year, rice is. Rice is the most important from crop of India. It is a predominantly as a kharif or summer crop. It's a cover about one third of total cultivated area of country and provide a food to more than half of the Indian population. Maximum population of the India is of rice consumer. Do you know what types of geographical conditions are required for rice cultivations? This is an important question. If you look at the rice growing area of India, you should be find that this is the only crop in India which is a growing in a variety of condition and interesting below. Therefore, there are some of the geographical conditions are flowing here. The first of all here, a geographical condition is a temperature. Temperature is the most important here. The rice required to hot and humidity condition. The rice is required to hot and humidity condition. The temperature should be a fairly high, is 24 Celsius. Mean monthly temperature with the average temperature of 22 Celsius to 32 Celsius. There is a temperature is the main growing of the rice in this temperature. And the next year, rainfall. There is a rainfall is important. Rainfall is ranging between to the 150 to 300 centimeter is suitable for its grow in area of Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh, where a rainfall is the less than 100 centimeter. Rice is cultivated with the help of irrigation. They're important. And the next year, soil. Rice is a grow in the a variety to soil condition, but Deep clays and loamy soil provide their ideal condition. The rice is primarily is grown in the plain area. It is also grown below sea level at the Kotanad, Kerala. Hill terrace of the northern eastern part of India is the valley of Kashmir. The next year, labor. Labor is important. The rice cultivation is required to easily available cheap labor because most of the activities associated with there are labor oriented and are not very well situated from the mechanism. And the important here distribution. Rice grow in almost all the state of India. Rice is growing to almost all of the state of India. The main rice producing states are Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Uttarakhand, Chhattisgarh, Punjab, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Assam and Maharashtra. It is also growing in Haryana and Madhya Pradesh, Kerala, Gujarat and Kashmir Valley. This is the most important. Let's see the map, the detail of the rice on the map. On your screen, there is the most important map here. India rice production. India has rice production is a major area and other area is also here. There is the most important. The major area is Bihar, Bengal, and there are Arunachal Pradesh and the maximum area on there. But is other area is a very less. But is the most important is a major area Bihar, and there's also is a Jharkhand, and the all area is important here. The next year, wheat. The wheat is the second most important food crop of India, the next to be rice. It is a rabi or winter crop. It is sown in the beginning of the winter and harvested in the beginning of summer. Normally in northern India, the sowing of the wheat began to the month of October, November, and harvesting is done in the month of the March, April. This is the staples of the food of millions of people, particularly in the northern and northern western region of India. Unlike rice, wheat is growing mostly as a rabi or winter crop. That's important. And let's see the detail. Some of the geographical conditions are flowing. This is important here. Geographical condition. First of all here, temperature. There is a temperature. It's a primary crop for a mid latitude or grassland. It's a required cool climate. There is a cool climate is required on this crop. The ideal temperature here are between 10 Celsius to 15 Celsius means the less temperature at the time of sowing and 21 Celsius 26 Celsius 6 at the time of wrappings and harvesting. That's important. Geographical conditions on temperature. And next year rainfall. Wheat travel well in an area receiving annual rainfall of about 75 centimeter. The rainfall is required here 75 centimeter annual rainfall, about 100 centimeter in the upper limit for a wheat cultivation. As you know, area is receiving more than 100 centimeter of rainfall are the suitable for the rice cultivation. Like a rice, wheat can be also be a growing by irrigation method is area where a rainfall is less than 75 centimeter. But on the other hand, the frost at the time of flowerings and hailstone at the time of wrappings can causing heavy damage to the wheat's crop. And the next year, soil. Although there is a wheat can be grown in a variety of soil, but Belgian is a fertile loamy and clammy loamy soil is the best situated from the wheat cultivations. Plant areas are very well situated from wheat production. And most of all here, labor. Wheat is a highly mechanized and require less labor. And the next year, distribution. The main regions of wheat production in India are UP, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, UP, Punjab and Haryana together produce more than 66% of the total wheat of the country. That's important. Punjab and Haryana together produce more than 66% of the total wheat of the country. That's the most important. Let's see the map. On your screen, there is the most important wheat production. You know that the major area here, Punjab and Haryana. Punjab, Haryana has 66% for all over India. There's 66%. That's important. The production of wheat here 66% of Punjab and Haryana, and the less there is a 34% other side of India. That is important. The next year, mills. Mills are short duration warm weather crops, and these are correlates to grain crop and are used for both food and fodder. Fodder, these are the kharif crop, and these are sown in the May, August and the harvesting in October, November. Today, mills are mostly consumed by poor people as they are stable food. In India, a lot of mills is growing, and this is now by the various local name. The sum of there is a Jwar, Bajra, Ragi, Koras, Cotton, Kotki, Haraka, Bauti, Raga, Ira. This is the most important name as common here. In India, is a Jwar, Bajra, and Ragi are growing on the large area, but unfortunately, area is under this crop has a drastically reduced over the year. Some of the geographical conditions for growing this crop are flowing. There's important geographical condition here. The first of all here, temperature. Temperature crops, these crops are there growing where temperature is high, which ranges between 27 Celsius to 32 Celsius. This is important temperature. And then rainfall, as I mentioned earlier, that mills are dry land crop. Therefore, the rainfall ranging from 50 to 100 centimeters is ideal for there is a cultivation. There are 50 to 100 centimeters is ideal is a cultivation. And the next is soil. Soils and mills are the less sensitive to soil deficiency, and there can be grow in there is inferior alluvial and loamy soil. That is important. And the next year, distribution. The distribution Jwar Bajra is growing both in North and South India, whereas Ragi is generally concentrated in the South India. Jwar Bajra is growing to the Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana and Punjab. Ragi is generally concentrated in the southern India. There is a Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. There is the most important distribution here. And the next year, pulses. The pulses is important here. It include a number of crops which are mostly is a leguminous as provide the invaluable protein to be a vegetarian population of India. There is a vegetarian population of India. There is a protein of source of pulses here. As they have here, the source of protein is a comparison to be those who consume a meat and fish, and they also serve as a excellent forage and grain concentrate in the cattle feed. Apart from that, this is a leguminous crops have the capacity to be fixed atmospheric nitrogen in the soil and are normally rotated with the other crops to be maintained and restore soil fertility. A large variety of pulses are found in India. There is a important large variety of pulses are found in India, and these are a gram, tur, arhar, the peasant pea as a red gram, urad, black grams, moong, green grams, masoor, lentil, and kulthi is a horse's gram, matar, peas, etc. But among this is above to mention it to the variety only a gram and tur and the arhar are more important because they are important. Arhar is very important for here. The first of all here gram. Gram is the most important of all the pulses. It is a count for about 37% of the production and about 30% of the total area of pulses in India. It is a Rabi crop which is sown between to the September and November, and it is harvested between to the February and April. It is either cultivated as a single crop or mixed with the wheat, well, and seeds and mustard. That's important. Important also here a geographical condition. Some of geographical condition are flowing here. The important temperature. First of all, temperature. It is growing in the wide range of climatical condition. The mild, cool, and comfortably dry climate with a 20 Celsius to 25 Celsius temperature. But rainfall is very less here. 40 to 45 centimeter rainfall in the favorable for a gram cultivation. That's important rainfall here. And soil, it is growing well on the loamy soil is important. But distribution is here. See, now there is a gram is cultivated in a several part of country. However, 90% of the total production come from a 5 state only. There is a 90% come to the only 5 state. The name here, this state are the Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana and Maharashtra. There is a 5 state, 90% is giving here on population. The next year, commercially crop. Commercially crop, there is an important. As I mentioned in the beginning of the lesson, commercial crop are those crops which are growing for a sale, either a raw material from, semi-proceed from. In this section, we will be learn more about the selected cash crop. Selected a cash crop here, sugar cane, cotton, jute. That is the most important crop here. But two is range, tea and coffee also. And three is oil seed, groundnut, mustard and rapeseed. That is important. But first of all, on your screen, there is a sugar cane. Sugar cane, you think life without sugar is your everyday life. There is sugar is the most important. Everyday life uses here. It is almost impossible to be think of life without a sugar. You know, sugar can belong to be a bamboo family of plants and it is a indigenous of India. It is a kharif crop. It is a kharif crop. It is the main source of sugar, gur and khandasari. Sugar, gur and khandasari. It also provides a raw material from to the manufacturing of alcohol. Baggage of the crust can it reduce has also the multiply uses. It is used for manufacturing of paper. It is also can efficient a substitute for the petroleum product and a host of other chemical product. A part of it is also used as a fodder. That's important. The important is most of geographical conditions for the growth of sugarcane are as following. That's important. The geographical condition here. First of all, here on screen, temperature. Temperature require hot and humidity climate with on average temperature of 21 Celsius to 27 Celsius. There is a most important ideal temperature on growth of sugarcane. And the rainfall is important. Rainfall is a 75 to 150 centimeter rainfall is available for a sugarcane cultivation. There is an ideal here also rainfall here 75 to 150. Irrigation is required in those areas where rainfall is less than is prescribed limited. And the next year, soil. It is can be grown in a variety of soil. In fact, sugarcane can be tolerate any kind of soil that can be retain a moisture. But deep, rich, loamy soil is ideal for its growth. The soil should be rich in nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. But neither it should be a too acidic nor alkaline. Flat plant and the level plateaus is an advantage for sugarcane cultivation because it is a facilitated irrigation and transportation of cane to be a sugar mills. Sugarcane cultivate require heavy manure and fertilizer because it is acute for the fertility of soil quickly and extensive. That is important. In the next year, labor. Labor is obtained cultivation and required cheap labor. Ample human hands are required at every stage: sowing, hoeing, weeding, irrigation, cutting, and carrying sugarcane to be factories. That's a labor is cheap. This is important here. The next year, distribution. The distribution is important here. India has the largest area under the sugarcane cultivation in the world and the second largest producer next to be Brazil. The India is the largest area under sugarcane cultivation in the world, but second largest producer is the next to be Brazil. As for a distribution of sugarcane cultivation in India is concerned, there are three districts. geographical region in a country. These regions are the Satluj Ganga Plain from the Punjab to Bihar, containing 51% of the total area and 60% of country's total production. The important Satluj Ganga Plain for Punjab to Bihar contains 51% of the total area of 60% of country as a total production. And this black soil belt from the Maharashtra to Tamil Nadu along the eastern slope of the western Ghat. And coastal Andhra Pradesh and Krishna rivers well is important for the distribution of air sugarcane. But important air map of the next on your screen. On your screen, there is a most important map here. The India sugarcane production. You know that the major sugarcane part here, Bihar, there is some part, Uttar Pradesh is the most important, Punjab, Haryana, and other side. Another side is the Maharashtra also, and Kanyakumari is another side here. But Gujarat is here is only important. This is important sugarcane production in India is the maximum part here. The next year, cotton. Cotton is the most important fiber crops not only for India but also of the entire world. It is not only provides a raw material from a cotton textile industry but also its seed is used to the Banaspati oil industry. There is a cotton that is the most important. There is a cotton here use of the crop that is textile industry but also is a Banaspati oil industry. The cotton seeds are also used as a part of the fodder for milk cattle for better milk production. Cotton is basically a kharif crop and growing in the tropical and subtropical area. There is an important here. And the next year, some of the geographical conditions are flowing here. The important. First of all, here temperature. Cotton is a crop of tropical and subtropical area and require uniformly high temperature varying between 21 Celsius and 30 Celsius. There is an important and ideal temperature here. But rainfall it is growing mostly in the area having at least 210 forest free days in a year. There is a 210 forest free days in a year the rainfall. It is required modest amount of rainfall of 50 to 100 centimeter. And however, cotton is successfully growing with the help of irrigation in the area where the rainfall is less than 50 centimeter. And the high amount of rainfall is the beginning and the sunny and dry weather at the time of reaping are very useful for the good crops. And the next year, soil. Cotton cultivation is very closely related to the black soil and Deccans and the Malwa Plateau. However, it is also grow well is the alluvial soil for the Satluj Ganga Plain and red and laterite soil is the peninsular region. And also important here, labor. Labor as a picking of the cotton has not been made a mechanized till up now. Therefore, the lot of cheap and efficient labor is required at the time of picking. There is important mechanized till now there. And distribution here, India has the largest area under cultivation and third largest producer of cotton next only for China and the USA. Within the country, 2/3 of the total area and production is shared by 4 states. The main states for the cotton production are Punjab, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Haryana. Let's see map on the next on your screen. Here show the map. There is important India as a cotton production. You know that the Punjab side and the Rajasthan areas also occupy in cotton major is a part here. And there is a Maharashtra, Gujarat and some other parts of cotton production in India. That is important here. The next year, oil seeds. Oil seeds is important. It's one of the important group of commercially crop in India. In fact, India has the largest area of production of oil seed in the world. Oil extract from the oil seeds not only from an important item of our diet but also serve as a raw material for the manufacturing of hydrogenated oil, paint, varnish, and soap and lubricant, etc. There is oil seed is the most important for daily to life. Oil cake there is reduced after the oil is extracted from the oil seed. From as important cattle feed and manure also the important here. And groundnut. Groundnut is the most important oil seed of India. Groundnut is growing both as a kharif and rabi crop, but 90 to 95% of the total area is devoted to be kharif crop. The groundnut is important. And let's see geographical condition. Here shows some of the geographical conditions are flowing here important. First of all, temperature. Temperature is travels is best in the tropicals climate and require 30 Celsius to 20 Celsius temperature is important. 20 to 30 Celsius temperature required for this groundnut is growing. And rainfall here 50 to 75 centimeter rainfall is favorable for a groundnut. And cultivations, this is important. 50 to 75 centimeter rainfall is favorable for groundnut and cultivation. It is a highly susceptible to be forest is prolonged drought and continuously rain and stagnant water, and therefore dry winter is needed at the time of reaping. That's important. The next is soil. There is a well drained light, sandy, loamy, red, yellow, and black soil are well suited from the cultivation. That's important. The soil here, sandy, loamy, red, yellow, black. Soil is suited to the cultivation. And also is important a distribution. It is the most important oil seed of India and account for about half of the major oil seed produced in the country. India is the largest producer of groundnut in the world and account for about one third of the world as the production. This is the most important. The India here is the world has accounted about there one of third of the world of the production. Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat are three main producers of groundnut in India and account for about 60% of total production. Another 30% of the total production come from to the Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Odisha. The important 60% is Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat. The main important area of production of the groundnut. But 30% here are Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Odisha. The next year, plantation crop. Their plantation crop is important here. First of all, tea. India is a famous for its a tea garden. India is a famous for its a tea garden. You must have heard about the tea garden of Assam and Darjeeling in the West Bengal. Assam and Darjeeling, the ideal area of tea plantation. It's a began said that the tea plantation in India was started by the Britisher in 1923 when wild tea plants were discovered by them in the hill and forest area of Assam. Tea is made from to the tender spoil out the tea plant by drying them. At present, India is the leading tea producing country in the world. China and Sri Lanka were respectively second and third largest producer of tea, but India is the first country is a higher production of tea. And let's see the geographical condition. Some of the geographical conditions for the growth of tea are flowing here. First of all, temperature. The temperature is the most important variable here. It's require hot and wet climate. It's require hot and wet climate. The ideal temperature for the growth of tea versus and leaf varies is between 20 Celsius to 30 Celsius temperature. Its temperature either rises above 35 Celsius or go below to 10 Celsius. It would be harmful for the growth of tea versus and leaves. The next year, rainfall. The rainfall is important as the mentioned above the tea require a good amount of rainfall ranging between 150 to 300 centimeter, and the annual rainfall should be well distributed throughout the year. The long dry spell in the harmful for a tea. The next year, soil. Tea bushes grow well is well drainage, deep, favorable loamy soil. However, virgin forest soil rich in the humus and the iron content are considered to be the best soil for the tea plantation. And tea is a shade loving plant and growing better when to plant it along with the shady trees. The next year labor. Cheap and efficient labor is required for the tea production. There is important cheap and efficient labor is required for the tea production. But distribution here, Assam is the leading producer then account for more than 50% of tea production of India. Assam, there is a 50% of production of tea. And tea producing area of Assam are there hill slope and bordering of Brahmaputra and Surma Valley. West Bengal is the second largest producer of the tea, whereas tea is mostly growing in the district of Darjeeling, and Siliguri and Jaipurguri and Koch Bihar district. There is the most important tea production area. Tamil Nadu is the third largest producer, whereas the tea growing area and the mostly districted to be Nilgiri Hill. That's important. Let's see on map on the screen to the next. On your screen, there's a most important map here. India tea production. India is a tea production. The major area is the Darjeeling. The most important Assam side. But some part of Kerala there is important shown on the screen. But the other area is the important for the Uttarakhand side. The next year coffee. Coffee. Do you know from where is coffee was brought to be India? It is the endogenous crop of Ethiopia. Is Ethiopia Samilia plateaus. From the Ethiopia, it was taken to the Yemen in an 11th century. Yemen in an 11th century from the Arabia, there are seeds were brought to be a Baba Buddhans in the 17th century and the where rises to the Baba Buddhan hills of Karnataka. But it was the British planter who took a keen interest and a large coffee estate were established in the hill of the Western Ghat. There is a coffee is important here. And the next year, geographical condition. Let's see. The sum of the geographical condition of the growth of coffees are flowing here. First of all, temperature. Temperature is varied about here. It is required hot and humid climate with the temperature varying between to the 15 Celsius and 28 Celsius. It is generally growing under shade trees. Therefore, a strong sunshine and the high temperature over 30 Celsius. First, and there is snowfall, harmful for coffee cultivation. There is a snowfall, is a harmful coffee cultivation, and dry weather is a necessary at the time. Wrapping of berries. That's important. Wrapping of berries there is a necessary for the time. And the next year rainfall. The rainfall between 150 to 250 centimeters is favorable for a coffee cultivation. There is important 150 to 250 centimeters is favorable for a coffee cultivation. And the next year, soil. Well drained is a rich of variable loamy soil containing good deal of humus and mineral like iron and calcium are ideal for a coffee cultivation. The soil must be properly as manure to be turned there is a replenishing fertilizer and to increase some productivity. This is the most important here. Soil. The soil is a loamy soil. And the next year labor. Labor like the tea coffee cultivation also require a plenty of cheap and a skilled labor for a various purpose like a sowing, transplanting, pouringings, plungings, drying and gradings and packing of coffee. This is important is the labor. And distribution here, Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu are main state of the coffee production in India. So our next topic is the most important here, major challenges faced by Indian agriculture. There is a most important question for the exam view. Major challenges faced by the Indian agriculture. If you look at the challenges faced by the Indian agriculture, we can broadly group them into two categories. One category belongs to be a problem that has been too long standing. And second category of problems is a new and has been to the emerging from the prevailing agriculture practice, system challenging climate and economy. Let us discuss major challenges in a detail. First of all here, stagnation in the production of major crop. There is important stagnations in the production of major crops. Production of some of the major staple food crops like rice, wheat has been stagnating from quite some time. And this is a situation which is wearing over agriculture and scientist is a planner and the policy maker. If this trend continues, this would be a huge gap between to the demand of ever growing population and production. Nobody want to India to go back to situation that was prevailing in our country prior to the Green Revolution and try to find out that was the situation during to pre-Green Revolution period. And the next year, high cost of farm input. The high cost of farm input is important. Over the years, rates of farms input have increased a manifold. From input is include a fertilizer, insecticide, pesticide, and HYV seed. There is the most important here. There is a fertilizer, insecticide, pesticide, HYV seed from a labor cost, etc. Such and the increasing input low and mediums land holding farmer at the disadvantage. The next year soil equations. There is important soil equations here. One of the hand green revolution has a play a positive role in their reducing hunger for India. There is a reducing hunger from India. One of the other hand, it has also lead to be negative consequence. One of which is the soil equations. A soil equation mean loss of nutrient in the soil from farming the same crop over again. The crop over and over again, and this usually happen in the rain forest. The important soil irrigations. And the next year, depletion of the fresh groundwater. Depletions of fresh groundwater here. The second major negative consequence of green revolution is depleting to the fresh groundwater. You will remember that area where a green revolution was successful. It was due to the use of chemical fertilizer and irrigation. Most of the irrigation is a dry area of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh was carried out the exclusive use of groundwater. Today, fresh groundwater situation in this state is alarming. In the coming few years, if these types of farming practice continually, and these states are going for a phase of water famine, that's important. Depletion of fresh water, groundwater here. And the next year, advises the impact of the global climatic change. That is important. What's the impact of global climatic change? Among the various challenges, global climatic changes in the recent one. It has been predicted that its impact on agriculture would be immense. Since 70% of the Indian population is engaged in agriculture activities, you can imagine the consequence. It is predicted that due to the climate change, temperature would be increased from 2 Celsius to 3 Celsius. There would be an increasing sea level and more intense a cyclone, unpredictable rainfall, etc. There is a major challenge here, and this challenge would be addressed adversely to the effect of the production of rice, wheat, and specifically is the rice the temperature in a winter would be affect production of wheat in North India. There is a most important impact of global climate change here. The next year, impact of globalization. There is impact of globalization is important here. You can see the effect of globalization on the farm sector in India. All developing countries has been affected by its The most evidence effect is the sequence on the farmers is income and threat to be a visibility of cultivation of India. India is due to the rises of input costs as a falling output prices. This effect is a combination of the reduced subsidy and protection to the farmers and trade liberalization expose these farmers to be competitions from the highly subsidized production in the developed world. There is the impact of globalization. There is the most important on the agriculture. Globalization refers to be an increasingly global relationship of the culture, people, and economical activity. And subsidy. A subsidy is a money given to the government to be help support to a business a person. And liberalization mean the liberalization to be established any kind of economical activity at one's time and where is a country without anticipating and kind of so-called private and public restriction. There is a most important definition here: globalization, subsidy, and liberalization. That is important. And next year, providing food security. That is important. Providing food security here. Before the introduction of Green Revolution in India, we were not self-sufficient in terms of our food grain production. Due to the participation of India in a 1947, the network of canal irrigation system, cotton belt and wheat was met by the best Pakistan, which is now Pakistan. There is a best Pakistan, which is now Pakistan, and similarly, their jute belt and rice bowl was awarded to the East Pakistan. This Pakistan is called bowl was awarded. The rice bowl there is important, and which is now Bangladesh. With the introduction of Green Revolution, production of food grain increasing sustainability and the India become self-sufficient. However, during the last one declared, the total production has become is a tenant. On other hand, we have added another 16 to 18 million population over this period. Third, India has become self-sufficient. In a good, it is yet to be ensured food security, which is dependent upon accessibility, is affordability as well as nutritional value of food available. One of the biggest challenge facing India providing to food security to be its population. There is a most important and challenging facing for India here. The next year, farmer suicide. The farmer suicide is the most important for according to the agriculture. The farmer suicide. Every suicide has a multiply of cases. But when you have nearly 2 lakh of them, it makes a sense for sick body common factor within that group. The suicide appeared concentrated in the regions of high commercialization of agriculture and very high peasant death. Cash crop farmers seem it for a more vulnerable to suicide than those growing of food crops. At the basic underlining cases of the crisis are remained untouched. Commercialization of countryside along with the massive decline in investment in agriculture was the beginning of decline. Withdrawal of bank credit at the time of the sharings, input prices and the crash in a farm income compounded the problems. Shifting of millions from food crops to cash crop or cultivation had its own risk. Privatization of many resources has also compounded the problem.